Mind Your Business is brought to you by Today's Business, making business social. What does courage, risk-taking, failing, continuous learning, and attitude have to do with building a successful business? Everything. Join me as we go inside the mind of a brilliant entrepreneur. Welcome back. I'm Barry Farber, and this is Mind Your Business, where we take a look at business leaders and their strategies, and we go deep into the mind of how they deal with failures, setbacks, obstacles, strategies, change. Well, there's many reasons for success, but I'd like to share with you one of the stories I heard that kind of gives you an example of what the most powerful reason why people succeed in any endeavor. There was a sensei, I think it was actually Kung Fu many years ago on the show, where the student asked the sensei, how do I become a black belt? How do I become a master at this? And after repeated questioning, the sensei took his head, they were by a fish pond, and he shoved it in the water, and he kept his head down in the water until he was struggling, and his arms were flying. And he finally, and he came out, could hardly breathe, and the sensei looks at him and says, when you want it as bad as you wanted to take a breath, that's when it'll come. And I know that sounds crazy, but that's sometimes the strategy you need to have that hunger, that desire, that passion to get over the obstacles you're going to get when you try something new or different or really hard. Well, when we come back, we're going to go dive into the many traits and strategies of entrepreneurship with business leader Tom Maoli. Don't go away.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
Welcome back. New Jersey bred Tom Maoli is the very definition of an entrepreneur. When pressed with an opportunity, Maoli has never hesitated, trusting his keen business sense to direct him. The result? Maoli has established himself as one of the state's most successful and influential business leaders. Since purchasing his first dealership, Lexus of Route 10 in Whippany, New Jersey, in 2011, it is now the #1 Lexus dealer in the Northeast region. Maoli has since expanded his auto empire to include Maserati of Morris County, Alfa Romeo of Morris County, BMW of Springfield, Maserati of Bergen County, and Mercedes-Benz dealership in Goldens Bridge, New York. And he says there are more in the hopper. His luxury dealerships operating under the Celebrity Motor Car Company brand are consistently named among the best in the nation. Thanks for coming on, Tom.
Pleasure.
It's good to see you. Strong handshake, focused individual. Let's even just start out right now. What do you think, to start a business, is the #1 key?
Desire.
What do you mean by
desire. You have to have the desire. It all comes from your gut. It comes from your heart. You have to have the desire. If you look at history and you look at all the successful people in life, it's all about desire. It's about you know, that burning sensation inside of them that they want to succeed no matter what it takes. You know, it's interesting because I just flew back from Bora Bora on a BMW trip, and I was watching the movie about Ray Kroc and McDonald's. Yeah, it's a very interesting movie because at the end of the movie actually ends with persistence and desire. That's what he states. It's all about persistence and desire.
Let's dive into desire, because desire, you can have that passion, and I believe in that. It has to be deep down something that motivates you to get past all the obstacles, the setbacks, the failure, the ridicule. People telling you, you're not going to be able to do this. What are you, crazy? Especially the manufacturer who said to you, you can't have a franchise. You have no experience in the auto industry. How do you deal with the setbacks when it hits your desire and screws your attitude up?
Actually, it doesn't. It shouldn't screw your attitude up because I think it's a challenge. I actually, when somebody tells me I can't do it, deep down inside, there's a little giggle, and it's almost like, okay, well now you've just challenged me to figure out how I'm going to do this, because you're going to try. Your intention is to shut me down, and I'm going to figure out how to. You know, I'm a running back, right? We're playing football. I'm going to find the hole.
Right.
My goal is to score a touchdown.
Exactly. Yep, you're focused. So there's a saying I always go by, no makes me go. Give me no. If I have an understanding of something that has value, that I see an opportunity that'll benefit a lot of people, I love the no. No doesn't mean no. No means maybe come back next time with a different approach.
Right.
What goes on in the mind of Tom Maoli when you're told no by people that say that it won't work?
Well, listen, in order to get to the no, you have to have already identified the opportunity in your mind. You know, when you see an opportunity in your gut, there's something that tells you this is right. This feels good. I see it. I see what this could be. It's like an artist with a canvas, right? They start with a canvas, they take out a paintbrush, and they already know in their mind what that picture is supposed to look like when it's done. That's what a true entrepreneur is about. They already know. Now they're going to figure out how they're going to get there.
Yep, the vision, that's already built in. Matisse had something where they slowed down his painting,
Yes.
and his brush actually did the brush movement before it hit the canvas.
Yes.
In his head. I love
Yes,
that.
exactly.
So let's talk about, desire is key. But one thing I've learned is that failure isn't failing as long as you don't fail to get back up, and use that as intelligent action to move forward. What do you do when you get a setback or something happens bad? What happens not only in your mind but in the action you produce?
Well, I think it's another challenge. Clearly, you have to regroup, right? You get a setback. It's, again, I'll use the analogy of a running back. You know, I'm playing for a football team. I get tackled, right? I thought there was a hole, and I thought I was going to score a touchdown, and I got tackled. And, you know, I got to go back to the huddle and I got to regroup. But it doesn't mean I'm not coming back out and I'm going to run harder and I'm going to find a new way. So it's just a matter of, it's about persistence. You have to be persistent in saying, I'm going to accomplish this because I see the end result. I know what it is.
1982, you started your first business, okay? Tell me about that and what struggles or what funny stories or examples can you give people to say, here you are at a stage where you own massive high-end dealerships, shopping malls, your success is based upon really building things and doing it a different way. What did you learn in 82 that maybe you use still today?
Well, interesting, because from the outside in, it clearly looks like a fairy tale. There's no struggles, but there's struggles every step of the way. You know, in 82 when I started and I decided that I was going to start my first company, which was a courier company out of high school, I made the decision not to go to college. I just felt like I was going to waste 4 years of my life that I could be building my business. So I started it and I had no money. And
your parents wouldn't give you the money.
And I had no money, and I said, you know, how am I going to make payroll? So I started doing business. I started billing my clients, and there was a thing that people learn in business school now. It's called a receivable. You don't have any money. People owe you money, but you can't pay your people. So I figured out a way, and I went and I pumped gas from 11 at night till 7 in the morning,
11 at night till 7 in the morning.
to make enough money to make payroll, went home, took a shower, went and to work and ran the office. And then after I was done on the ride home, because there was no technology back then when I started, there was no internet, there was no Facebook, there was no...
You didn't have a cell phone,
right. So you get out there and you promote. And I would ride around to lawyers' offices and slip envelopes under their doors with my magnets and my business cards, hoping that tomorrow they were going to call me.
Right.
And that's how I built it from the ground up.
Yeah, that legwork. There's nothing like... I used to work at a Crystal Plaza, from 6 in the morning till 2 in the morning. And it teaches a little bit about work ethic,
Absolutely.
Let's say work ethic. Because desire, passion, attitude, learning, service, all these things that we get into. But work ethic is sometimes, that is the number one thing I see. You love Vince Lombardi. He talks about it in all his quotes.
Love him. Brilliant man.
What would you tell somebody out there about work ethic? What does that mean? What advice would you give?
Well, listen, I think that, technology is a wonderful tool, and it's been part of my success because I serviced the technology industry when I was in the logistics business, and I rode the internet boom. So I love technology, and I think it's wonderful. But on the other hand I think that there are, just like everything else, there's pros and cons, there's goods and bads. And I think the negatives of technology are that kids in today's world are able to go online and look, and it looks like a fairy tale. It looks like it's easy. It looks like it's just going to happen. It looks like if it doesn't work, we can push a button and we can go to another site, and we can replace what we have. We can kick to the curb what we have and start something new. And so the desire and the focus and the determination goes away because they go from one to the next to the next. And I just think that, if I were to give any advice to anybody in college today and that was trying to get their career going, is to use technology and what's online to benefit their career and make their life easier. But what's online is only the front side of it. You have to see the back side of it. And the work ethic is that it doesn't matter what job you're doing. It doesn't matter whether you're cooking in a kitchen or you're cleaning bathrooms or you're the CEO of a company. You do it to your best ability.
110%.
110%, and you do it right, because that's how you're going to learn and that's how you're going to get recognition.
You build a foundation for success that way.
That's
My
right.
kids mow the lawn. People, do the little things early, and it's amazing how that carries on the rest of your life.
That's
and also,
right.
you never know who's looking when you're doing that.
That's right. And when you believe in quality, if you're cutting lawns, cut every blade. Don't cut every blade of grass. Don't miss a blade of grass, because it's quality. And when you believe that, that'll carry on to if you're Ray Kroc and you're running McDonald's.
Yep. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. One of my favorite quotes, because I see a lot of talented people, talented derelicts, went to school forever and then come out and, one little setback, they're done. They're afraid of failure.
The world's full of them.
Yeah. So I'm going to explore further with you when we come back. We're going to get into, I want to talk about service, how to differentiate companies today, because you walk into retail, and even though a lot of online is taken over,
Yes.
look what happened in the news, where you talk about Whole Foods and Amazon and the things that are going on. But I want to look at how do you differentiate today where the touching points of people that they never forget that they come back because of something unique that differentiated you, especially in a high price market.
Right.
Why would they pay that? What's the value there? And one tip before we go, I wanted to hear, what would you say to somebody who has failed a lot and they have a passion and desire and they're just not getting anywhere? What would you recommend?
I would rethink the strategy. I would actually sit, regroup in a room. I'd get some advice from people who have succeeded, and I would regroup your strategy, because clearly something is wrong. If you're in an industry that is thriving, successful, has business, there are other successful people in it, why can't you do it? Right. Clearly you're doing something wrong.
All right, so when we come back, we're going to talk about listening. About
Absolutely.
learning from
Yes.
the environment, about mentors, wise advisors to surround ourselves with. I know you didn't do it all by yourself. You have some smart
absolutely
people.
not. Very smart.
Like Larry, who got you here and gave me all that info.
Absolutely.
We'll be right back with Mind Your Business and Tom Maoli. Don't go away.
fancy pants peanut butter?
A big screen television.
You haven't even bought a sofa yet.
A motorcycle? When your father finds out, he's gonna flip his
Shoes with 2 buckles? What do you even need 2 buckles for?
Mr. Big Shot, buying whiskey shots for everybody in the bar. From the looks of it, I'd say nobody even remembers.
Feed the pig.
I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it. My support team never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew who I could become as a person. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Welcome back. I'm Barry Farber. This is Mind Your Business. Not mind your own business, mind your business, the mind. We're with Tom Maoli, and we're going to go deep in the mind. And I want to start out with risk. I'm going to talk about the fact that I had a guest on. He was a billionaire, made hundreds of people millionaires. He said a quote to me. He says, Barry, there's risk in safety, and there's safety in risk. It was just interesting because, you know, how do you get anywhere? You got to take risks. What is risk to you? What does that mean? And
Well,
tell me.
it's interesting because I don't see it as risk. I see it as opportunity. The way I see it is, people are afraid of risk, and at the end of the day, I look at it as if you don't take the risk, you're putting yourself in a position where it may seem like it's safe, but it's really not safe. What you're doing is you're putting yourself in a position where inflation will eat you alive. When a bank wants to lend you money at 3% and you can make 13% on your investment, so you're making a 10% margin, I'll do it all day long.
Okay.
That's not risk, that's opportunity.
Mm-hmm. See the opportunity. See, most people will see something and say, oh my God, that's bad. Then somebody else will say, that's good. I could take an example here. I always like to use this. You want to unfold opportunity when you fall flat on your face? Had a pen that folds up, right? Pen folds up, snap, unfold it. How much adversity, risk that you spend time and money and investment on molds and license everything, and it doesn't work? Well, you got to look at what do you mean it doesn't work? There's things that happen in failure and setbacks that give you intelligence that you can use and leverage somewhere else. It's gotten me more business beyond the pen. The pen succeeds now, but beyond the pen is crazy.
Correct.
How do you look at failure? How do you look? You're taking a risk. You're going to fail. You're going to have a setback. You're going to have an obstacle.
Well, clearly,
how do you learn from that?
Clearly, like I said before, you're going to go back to the huddle. You're going to reorganize, and you're going to figure out how you call the play a different way. But it doesn't. And timing is an issue in the marketplace. Just because it failed today doesn't mean it's going to fail tomorrow. It could be the biggest failure in the world today, but it doesn't mean it's going to fail tomorrow. Tomorrow, it could be the greatest thing since sliced bread. Yeah. So I think it's persistence, and if you stay with what you believe in, you clearly designed that pen because you believed in it. You believed in it. Mm-hmm. So if you give up on it, it's dead. Mm-hmm. If you continue to persist, there's going to come a time when someone's going to say, that has value, I love it, let's move with it.
Right, to keep that faith, to keep
That's
going.
Right.
Learning and understanding your environment. The auto industry said, you can't have a franchise, you have no experience in this industry, but you proved them wrong and came up with a way to think out of the box and brought value to that dealership.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
When I first went in, I applied to the manufacturer, to Lexus, and they basically turned me down. And I said, well, you got to give me a meeting. You have to at least give me a meeting. So I went up to their offices, and it took me 2.5 hours, but I convinced them that I was a good bet.
Mm-hmm. And how'd you do that?
I gave them my experience. I told them what I was going to do. I told them that there's no one that's going to work harder at their business, that's going to care more about their customers and their cars and their franchise. And over time they believed me.
Why?
And
why do you think they went?
Because it was in my gut and it was in my heart. It was not just. I wasn't selling them a bag of goods. I was giving them what I really believed in, and they felt it. They saw it.
You can't sell that.
No, you can't.
If you don't believe in it, like when I work with a lot of sales forces, and I talk about when you go on a call, confidence is the #1 factor. But if you don't have the intelligence, the research, the backing, the foundation, when you go in, I mean, forget 99% of it is listening and understanding the customer. But if you go in with no passion or not a
Right.
belief in what you're selling, get out of the business.
Anything. You have to believe in yourself, number one. You have to believe that you can do it. You have to believe in then what you're doing, and then I call it theater of the mind. You have to create a theater. You're on stage. You have to create a theater. You have to get that audience to clap.
What about learning? How much do you spend time learning, reading, research?
Every day, every minute. Every day, every minute you're learning. I'm a student of any business, of the world, of banking, of the politics, of anything. You're always learning. If you think you know it all, then you're done.
I think it was a basketball coach said, once you know it all, you don't learn anything. It's what you learn after you know it all. That's what it is. It's
that's
what
right.
you learn after you know it all that counts.
That's right.
And have that open mind.
That's right. That's right.
So what goes on in the mind of when do you read? Do you study people?
I do.
You have mentors?
I study people. I read. I look at history. History is very important because obviously history repeats itself, and you can look at other people's failures, other people's successes, and you can learn from that. You can learn from your employees every day, what they do, what they see. They're on the ground. They see it much different than I'm seeing it now because I'm in the dugout, right? I'm calling the play from the dugout. They're on the field now, so I see it, they see it differently. So you have to listen, you have to get the information, and then you have to make the decision based upon what you see. Again, when you're making that decision, you're already seeing the painting, you're seeing the end result.
Right. Service today, what is different that you do? Because that's a big passion of yours, I know, but there's so many companies that it's in their advertising, it's everywhere. We deliver, come to us. But it has to be delivered 3 feet from the customer every day. What do you do?
Service is about one thing. It's very interesting, and I was at a national dealer meeting in New Orleans, and the global chairman of Lexus came up to me and he said to me, this is after they denied me and then approved me. He came up to me in a crowd of at least 2,000 people and found me, and he said to me, hey, what are you doing different? Because I see what's going on, and he said, clearly you're doing something, I want to know what it is. And I was joking with him, and I said, well, I'm not going to tell you, because then you're going to tell everyone else. And but really what it's about, it's hospitality and connection with the customer. You have to understand that customer and what their needs are, and how to push their buttons, and how to get them to like you and associate with you. And it's not really about what you're selling. Obviously, I'm in the car business. It's not about cars. It's about connecting with the customer. It's about making that customer feel like they have a value. And when you can connect with that customer, and every single customer on that level, then you're successful. Then you got a home run.
Listening. So it's funny. I'm doing a keynote talk for a group that I worked with 20 years ago. So I said, let me have your top reps in the country and in the area that I'm speaking about. I speak to the top reps. I ask them questions. Why do they think they sell well? What's their success strategy? Then I ask for their customers. Then I ask permission to interview their customers and record the conversation. And I ask them, why do you buy from them? What differentiates sales reps? What turns you off? Right. Do you know it's the same thing they said 20 years ago? There's no difference. People think there's some magic today. Oh, this is old.
Yes.
It's the basic fundamentals. We stick to the basics, and you never have to go back to them.
That's right. Exactly. But again, it comes down to desire. As an employee, as a salesperson, as an owner, you have to have that desire to want to figure that out. And when you can figure that out, it's not work. It's fun. It's fun figuring people out. It's fun figuring out how to get people to what makes them tick.
What's your definition of success now? For all these years and the companies you've run and the people you've worked with?
I think, listen, clearly there's a financial indicator of what success is, but that's not the end all. It's really about happy customers, happy employees, lending institutions that will finance your deals when you walk in the door, investors that'll say, hey, I want a piece of you, I want to invest in you, I want to throw money into your deals when you don't even need them, because you don't need their money. But the reality of it is that success, when you have respect of all of that, then I think you're successful.
The founder of Ralston Purina, William Danforth, said this quote, I'll never forget it. He said, catch a passion for helping others, and a richer life comes back to you.
Yes.
And in that statement, it sounds like from your employees, customers, vendors, everybody, you add value to these people.
You're adding value.
And you know what's so funny? People come to you when you don't need it.
That's right.
You know, there's a quote we had on another show, and it was just the fact that, look, you know, people, you know, don't. I could say this right now, but it's a whole nother show. But those who desire nothing possess everything.
Yes.
It sounds like desire nothing. You have no
Right.
motivation, enthusiasm.
Yes. Right. Yeah. But again,
How do you do that?
There's a you know, there's a state of mind and there's a energy that you project, and you know, there's such a thing as trying too hard. When you're young and you're hungry and you're ready to run through a brick wall, you don't realize that, you know, you're gonna bleed a little, right? And
there's some value to that.
There's some value to it. There's no doubt there's value to it, and you need that desire, and you have to
Right.
run through that brick wall. But when you get to the point when you really are successful, then it all starts going the opposite way, and it comes to you because you're sending out that energy that you've got it under control. Every piece of your machine is working, and people want to be a part of that. Yeah. They want to be a part of a success story. It's interesting.
Is there anything we left out? We could talk. Got a few minutes.
Yeah.
What about your family? You have beautiful daughters.
Yes,
you're very
two
proud
daughters.
of?
Absolutely, two daughters. One of them is my older daughter right now, who's going to High Point University, Veronica, and she's studying to be. She's majoring in entrepreneurship.
It's a shocker.
Yeah. Well, it's it's interesting because as a young girl, I used to take her to all my real estate closings, and you know, she. Funny story. She was in 6th grade, and I took her out of school into a real estate closing, and she made my wife get her a briefcase and a pinstripe suit, and
so
she
funny.
showed up, and we were in the middle of the closing, and she said, you know, Dad, you can't sign the papers. And I said, why? She said, you can't sign those papers. So I had to go out in the hallway and figure out why we couldn't sign them with the lawyers, and it was because something was spelled wrong.
No way.
Oh, it was amazing. It was absolutely. She's got it. She's, you know, and she's learned young, and I think she's got big desires. She had me in New York City this weekend looking at hotels and apartment buildings because she wants to build luxury hotels and apartment buildings, and she's got this whole concept in her head of what she wants to do.
Well, I'll bet you it's not what you said to her. It's what she was exposed to.
Yes.
Through osmosis, she picked all that up.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, no doubt.
You know, it's a pleasure. I could talk for another half hour. You're a gentleman.
Well,
I appreciate you coming
thank
on.
you,
And,
thank you. Thank
very,
you for having me.
Congratulations on all your success with everything. You deserve it. Nobody works harder than you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, appreciate it, Tom.
Great.
This has been Mind Your Business. This is Barry Farber. See you next time. Mind Your Business is brought to you by Today's Business, making business social.